Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. Back again with one of my hot takes videos. If you haven't seen these in a little while, it's because it's been a bit since I've done one. I don't think I've done one since before the season started. So I thought it would be a good time to do one. We were a couple weeks into the season. People are kind of getting a feel for their teams, how players are going to play this season. And so I tweeted out earlier today, about 3 hours ago, drop me some NBA hot takes that you have after the first few weeks of the season for a YouTube video, and about 90 to 100 of y'all left comments, so thank you so much for all the comments. I'm going to go through, read as many as I can, and react to them, give you my thoughts. I won't get to every single one, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of talk about a variety of different things that I'm not normally able to talk about in my usual videos. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. So starting off, it's time for the Pelicans to rebuild again, even though they're already doing that but miserably failing. Zion is going in the wrong direction, and Ingram is there just for the sake of being there. I think it's a little too early to say something like that they need to rebuild again. Maybe if Zion and Ingram are playing together and it's just not working, and maybe then you decide to move on from one of the two. I think Ingram is the odd man out if you do have to choose between those two guys. Assuming that Zion does even come back healthy, him being injured coming into the season, there are all these concerns about his weight, if he's injury prone, stuff like that. When the two are healthy, Zion is easily the better player. If you've got to choose between one of them, I do think you go with Zion, but I think it's a little too early to say that they need to rebuild because we haven't really seen those two on the court together. Maybe, say, Zion comes back, and even with Zion and Ingram together, they're still pretty bad. Maybe then you make the decision to trade Ingram to kind of give Zion the team and open things up. Or if Zion just doesn't look like the player he was going to be one time, maybe you try and trade him sooner than later if those rumors about him be wanting that out of New Orleans are true. So I don't know if they need to quite rebuild yet, but I see where you're coming from. The Clippers are the most serious contender in the West. They got to an awful start, but they figured it out, and they have yet to add their best player. If Kawhi Leonard was going to be, like 100% he was going to be back this season, I might agree with this. The problem is, we don't know if Kawhi is going to be back. There have been rumors that are saying that Kawhi could come back at the season. They're feeling pretty good about it, but he suffered a pretty big injury, and that's not one that you typically come back from very quickly. I don't expect Kawhi to want to rush himself. We'll see where the Clippers are at. Maybe if the Clippers are like the 1 seed or something like that, and they can get through maybe like a first round series without him, maybe he waits a little bit longer. Maybe they're on the verge of missing the playoffs, and he decides it's not really worth it. I don't really know. I think it's going to depend where they are when the playoffs roll around, how soon he comes back. But even when he does come back, like, he's not going to be 100% right away. It's going to take some time. It takes a lot of time to ramp up to the physicality you need, especially with playoff basketball, especially with the way that basketball has been officiated over the course of this season being very physical. So if Kawhi does come back, I think the Clippers are definitely one of the favorites. But if he doesn't, I don't think that they're anything too crazy. Jonathan Isaac says that the Miami Heat defense is too much come playoffs and they'll make another finals run. I think that's definitely possible. When Victor Oladipo coming back, I think is going to be a big piece to this team. Can he provide some offense? Because there aren't many nights where they get blown out, where the other team just scores all over them. The problem is, can they score enough at times, even when they hold opposing teams to like 95, 100 points? How often can the Heat score that much? A lot of that right now comes down to Tyler Hero having to be that just sole bench creator. I think they need more depth. They need more scoring on that team. And I do think a guy like Victor Oladipo coming back can help with that. But I would expect them to maybe make a trade. Jared Allen is going to be an all-star this season. It's possible. The problem is, like, Joel Embiid is going to be a starter at the center position for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. You've got some other good big men, like you have Domantas Sabonis, Bam Adebayo. So it might be tough for Jared Allen to get that spot, but I do think he will be in consideration at least. The East has far surpassed the West. I don't know if I'd say far surpassed. I do think the East right now is better. You have the Nets, you've got the Sixers, who are playing great even without a bunch of guys. When the Bucks get healthy, they'll be good. You've got the Nets. You've got a lot of good teams. The Bulls, the Wizards have been playing really well. So I do think the East is better at this point, but I don't know if I would say far surpassed. Cleveland and DC will finish as 2 of the top 6 seeds. I don't see that. I don't know how sustainable Cleveland and the Wizards are at this point because they're very different teams. This could be a case of like a team gets off to a hot start. There are teams like the Bucks who haven't been healthy yet that will take one of those top 6 spots. I still think the Hawks could come back and have a good run. The Knicks are good. It's just, I don't know. It feels like to have both of them, maybe one of them makes a run and they end up as one of those top 6 seeds, and a team like that's injured, or maybe even the Hawks that got off to a slow start ends up being like a 7 or something. But to get 2 of them, that's a lot. The Knicks snag the 3 seed. They could do it. A lot of teams are pretty beat up right now. Knicks winning it all this year, that would be surprising. Cole Anthony is a superstar in the making. I don't know if I'll say superstar, but he has been phenomenal. I haven't had the chance to talk about Cole Anthony as much as I've wanted to because the Magic just aren't very good right now. But I do want to make a video talking a little bit about the Magic's young core, how it's pretty underrated, and I love Cole Anthony's game. I was on record coming into the draft when he got drafted that I like Cole Anthony. I thought he should go higher than he did, and it's cool to see that he is kind of proving me right in that regard. He's been phenomenal. He's been nothing short of a star so far this season. The Lakers will disappoint in the playoffs once again. I don't know whether that means losing in the first round or the second round, but they have been disappointing. They have dealt with a lot of injuries, and I do think how far the Lakers go in the playoffs is going to depend a lot on how much time the big 3 get together. LeBron and AD are both pretty injury prone. At least LeBron so far in this recent stretch of his career has dealt with a lot of injuries. AD has always been injury prone. If they're able to get a lot of time together as a big 3 on the court, I do think there is a better chance of them going further. But if they're not able to, that will definitely take a hit. Paul George wins MVP and carries the Clippers to the playoffs. I think he needs to more than just bring them to the playoffs. I think to win MVP, because you've got like a guy like Curry who is he's not having a great season so far, but I'm pretty sure his numbers are going to get back to what we've seen from Curry pretty soon. He just had that 50-point game. The Warriors look very good. Of course, out in the East, you've got Kevin Durant who's playing well. Nikola Jokic has the Nuggets on his back amongst other guys. So I think Paul George to get MVP, he would have to bring the Clippers to like a top 3 seed, and I just don't know if that's attainable. Cat and Anthony Edwards will both be top 15 for points per game at the end of the season. The Wolves are struggling right now to score the basketball, which is my worry about this. Both in top 15 might be a little bit bold, but they are both great scorers. The Wolves as a team, though, need to figure out how to score. Bam Adebayo, Defensive Player of the Year. That was my pick before the season, and the way that the Heat's defense has been, I do think he deserves consideration. Trae Young keeps going crazy in stats and starts winning a lot of games and wins MVP. It would take a big turnaround from this Hawks team. They're currently 4-8, given they have had a really tough schedule. That's another team that I want to make a video about. But if they win a lot of games, Trae Young could win MVP because he is going to be the reason that their season would turn around. The Clippers will end up with a better record than the Lakers. I don't think so. Just not having Kawhi Leonard, I don't know how much I trust this Clippers team. Paul George has been phenomenal, and their role players have really stepped up. But just a team with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook, of course, it does depend on injuries. If the Lakers stay healthy, they will have a better record. But if it's perpetually like they can't get the big 3 on the court together, then that becomes a problem. Miles Bridges deserves Most Improved Player. I agree. At this point, I think it should be him or Ja, and I think I give it to Miles Bridges right now because of just how much he has improved rather than just a few points per game. I believe he's, at least last time I checked, he was leading the NBA in most points gained from last season to this season. He 100% deserves that consideration, alongside a guy like Jordan Poole even. Cleveland to the playoffs, they could do it before the season. I think last time I did one of these hot take videos, I said that the Cavs had no shot at making the playoffs, and now they're making me look dumb, so that's cool. Carmelo Anthony will win 6th Man of the Year. He's 100% in conversation for that right now. The Thunder go 500 after 20 games. It depends how often we get to play the Lakers. With Shea being Shea and Giddey improving, the Thunder will be too good to get Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, or Victor Wembanyama in the upcoming drafts without really good lottery luck. I agree. I think the path to us getting those good players is maybe like this season we still are bad, but next season, I think the improvements, it's going to be tough to get Victor Wembanyama. So I think that's where maybe you package a ton of those draft picks to try and move up in the draft potentially. So maybe something like that. The Bulls 2nd round max. I think they could go to the conference finals. The East feels pretty wide open right now. Shea leads the team with 27 points per game to a top 6 seed in the West. I'm guessing they mean this season. We'll see. 6 in the West would be insane. I've been saying that the Cavs are a playing team. Not sure the Sexton injury will affect that, but they're looking great so far. They have looked good. The Sexton injury does kind of throw a wrench into things, so some of it depends on when he comes back. Scotty Barnes has a good chance of winning Rookie of the Year. That's 100% true. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl will be top 5 for Rookie of the Year. I don't think so, just because of how good this draft class is. Top 5 right now is maybe like... You've got Mobley and Barnes up there at the top, like Franz Wagner. Josh Giddey is another guy you can throw in there. Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, I'm pretty sure are going to pick it up. Davion Mitchell's been good. There's Chris Duarte. That's the name I was forgetting. He's been fantastic as well. So I just don't think there's enough room with such a stacked draft class for him to be that high up. But maybe he makes an all-rookie team. Mobley is better than Barnes. They're pretty close. Same one I had last time. Ja versus SGA for the last All-Star spot. I could see that, but I could also see them both making it with a lot of other players' stats being kind of down. The Lakers and Nets aren't making it to the conference finals. That's a crazy way to spell DeJounte Murray. Is greater than Westbrook, and Bulls greater than Sixers. Lakers and Nets not making the conference finals. It's definitely possible. Both teams are dealing with injuries or players not playing. Kyrie Irving being out for the Nets. LeBron James missing time right now for the Lakers. DeJounte Murray better than Westbrook. I don't know about that. And Bulls greater than Sixers right now. But the Sixers have an 8-4 record, missing Embiid for multiple games, Tobias Harris for a lot of games, Danny Green for games. There's games where they miss Matisse Thybulle, Shake Milton's missed games. Like, their whole roster's missed games, and they're still really good. So I think the Sixers are the better team when healthy. KD being the best player in the league coming off an Achilles injury is insane. It is crazy that he is still this good after coming off an Achilles injury. My hot take is that most of these people don't know what a hot take is. He's saying that Luka Doncic is going to be the GOAT of this next generation. That's definitely possible. It's a matter of, can the Mavericks put talent around him? The Warriors will make the Western Conference Finals. They definitely could. Harrison Barnes will keep up this scoring average and enter a new prime in the NBA. That would be kind of crazy if you didn't know. Harrison Barnes is averaging around 20 points per game. The Heat are title favorites. I wouldn't say favorites, but they're definitely up there. OG Anunoby has hit his peak. I don't know if he's hit his peak. If he's still young, it feels like there's a lot more opportunity for him. I feel like he has a game that can kind of grow a lot, both defensively and offensively, mainly offensively. But I think OG does have some room to grow. Dame will get traded by the trade deadline. That would be a fun shakeup to the season. Cat should request a trade. Might be true, but also it's early in the season. The Celtics are going to tank again. I don't think so. Chris Duarte is a future All-Star. I would be not surprised, I guess, but there's just so much talent in the NBA right now. I think he's going to be a solid player at least. Maybe not a future All-Star. Let's see. I'm going to call it pretty soon. I think we've gone through quite a bit of these. When healthy, the Sixers are a top 3 seed in the East. I 100% agree. Let's see. I'm going to try and find some things differently. Steph Curry should win MVP and probably should have won it last year. I don't agree on the last year thing. Nikola Jokic 100% deserved that. But he's definitely one of the favorites right now. Hot take, Dame is part of the problem in Portland. He hasn't evolved his game in years. Even Trae Young has been better at getting his teammates involved than Dame, and he's only in year 4. I don't know if it's Dame's fault. Maybe, I mean, obviously Dame does deserve some of the blame, I guess, at least for their start to this season, because he's been not very good. But Damian Lillard had a game in the playoffs where he had like 60 points and his team lost. You could definitely say it's a problem with him not getting guys involved, but even like this season, he's averaging like 8 assists per game. And he's not shooting well, but he's still getting his teammates involved. I don't think Dame's the problem. You could say maybe he's part of the problem, but I can't say he's that much of it. Cavs make the Eastern Conference Finals. That is kind of crazy. Let's see, what else? I think we'll call it pretty soon. We're going to try and see if we can find like a couple more good ones that are different. Cade will be a bust. That's very bold. Sixers are legit contenders and way better without Ben Simmons. I do agree that they are legit contenders. I don't know if I would say they're way better. Ben Simmons would definitely help them defensively and help them orchestrate a little bit more offensively with this playmaking. But the problem is the ideal roster for the Sixers has always been surround Joel Embiid with shooters. And without Ben Simmons, that's exactly what they are. Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry's been like the best shooter in the NBA so far. Georges Niang was a great pickup for them. You've got Korkmaz has been phenomenal. He's been fantastic. Tobias Harris. When you have shooters around Embiid, that is a recipe for success. And Ben Simmons doesn't quite fit that mold. So I do think maybe as a team, they're playing better, but talent-wise, Ben Simmons does make them better. It's kind of a weird dichotomy. Let's see, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown simply can't work together. I don't think that's true. They've made an Eastern Conference Finals run when they were both pretty young. I think they can still make it happen. Giddey has a great chance of being the best point guard in the 2021 draft class. So that's over like Cade over Jalen Suggs. So the path to Giddey becoming the best point guard in the 2021 draft is, I think, he's going to have to become a better scorer. That's the main thing. He's by far the best playmaker right now in the draft class. He's probably the best rebounder at the point guard position due to his height. It's going to be about his scoring. Can he be efficient? Can he be a reliable outside shooter? Things like that. My phone alarm just went off. Can he do those things? And if he can, there is a chance for him to do so, but he has to find that consistency. Well, enough with these two. These three. Josh Giddey will average a triple-double at some point in his career. It's going to be about the rebounds. I think he can average double-digit points 100%. I also think he's a guy that could definitely average double-digit assists, especially when we get more talent around him. But can he get the rebounds for that? People don't realize how hard it is to get rebounds like that as a guard. Russell Westbrook doing that kind of normalized it. But to get average a triple-double, there's a reason only a few guys have done it in NBA history. I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. It would just... I don't think he can get the rebounds. Pistons make the playoffs with Cade. I don't think so. And finally, Jonas Valanciunas makes an all-star team. He's been playing phenomenally in the absence of Zion Williamson and now Brandon Ingram. He could definitely make a push for it. Out west, Nikola Jokic is, of course, going to be the starting center for the Western Conference All-Stars, but Jonas Valanciunas has played like one of the best centers in the West so far, and so I think he could make that push. All right, those were the hot takes for this video. Let me know which hot takes were your favorite, which ones you didn't agree with, which ones you thought were right. Leave a hot take in the comment section below. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see you all later. Real one.